Well, welcome and hello. Welcome to this week's video blog titled Journey to Wholeness. It's an important week in my life and therefore in the life of my ministry and the community of St. Michael's and many places. This is being recorded on Friday, the 23rd, I think, of October, and Monday will be 12 months since I had my medical moment, otherwise called a stroke. So this week has been special as I think about, reflect on the journey. This is a blog number, I think, 41, and what's happened in the last almost 12 months, this week, 12 months. I went to the GP last Friday for a checkup, and I was very, very pleased with how my healing and health is going. I think I've lost 40 pounds over the year so far when I stopped gluten. Well, blood pressure, we checked that, and so it's running at 128/60, and so we stopped taking blood pressure medicine. I've been on that for 2 medicines for actually quite a long time. So with the weight loss, I was actually getting dizzy when I stood up. They said, well, maybe it's too much medicine. So we stopped that. So that's great. He had the blood. We took some blood and did the test called the A1C3 test. That is the 3-month average of the previous blood sugar levels. The desired range is below 7.4, 7.2. Initially, it was like 9.4, which indicated my diabetes was not under control at all. And so it was 6.2. So he was very pleased, as I am, to have it under control. Therefore, less dependent on insulin because I'm more healthier, loss of weight, exercise, about blood sugars low. So that was great. I will go back to the rehab specialist this coming Monday, which would be exactly 12 months since the stroke, where I anticipate that he will support and approve me to return to work full-time on the 1st of November. So it is really remarkable that in the 12 months I can return to work. If you go back and look at the first video blog, I think I look at me and I can't really recognize me in terms of the changing shape. In my shirts, my clerical shirts, I've got a whole range of the thin shirts and the fat shirts. For example, I had put on so much weight over the last 3, 4, 5 years that my clerical shirts, I had to start buying bigger collars. So I was up to, and I have like 5 shirts for 18.5-inch neck. And the photos of me wearing those shirts, they look tight. It's huge. Now I pulled out my shirts actually on Friday of last week, and the 16.5 I can fit into easily. So that's evidence of the changing body shape as well as my health being a lot better. So if you're in the market for some second-hand shirts with clerical shirts, 8.5, give me a call and I'll do a deal. I'm not going to go back to them being that big. So I see the rehab doctor, as I said, on Monday, and I anticipate with joy resuming full-time work. I've been working quote-unquote half-time, but as I've reflected on work, I did quite early do a reflection on work and worth, and what does it mean to be in treatment and not being able to work, and how one's identity gets tied into self-worth. I've reread my ordination promises from when I was ordained in Rockhampton, Queensland in 1986 as a deacon, and then ordained a priest in 1987. And I've been rereading the documents with regard to being a priest, a rector in the church. And what has come back to me, and I've prayed about it, is what does a priest do as opposed to who you are? I think one of the big lessons for me over the last 12 months has been the goal is to unlearn the fatal and seductive illusion of being busy all the time, otherwise called workaholic. And so I think one of the sins of clergy, and I'm speaking for myself at this point, is that over the years I say yes to everything and anything for anybody, out of compulsion rather than out of need, perhaps. Is it a need for, people say, oh, he's great, or, I like him, or whatever. And so the week gets filled up with what can be called busy work. And I've reclaimed and refound, I think, in my vocation to be a person of prayer, a person who reads and uses time to read in order to produce better quality sermons. Not just reading, Petty and Dreadfuls and novels, but reading quality commentaries, theologically important work. To take the time, I read 2 newspapers each day in the paper, in my hand. I go online and read. And that is part of the work of preaching. Karl Barth, a very famous theologian, said that a preacher, when they prepare for a sermon, they should have the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other. And that to be an effective preacher, you have to be able to move between them and just comment on what's happening in the world every day, every week. And so in the media, Letty would probably second this, the story for today is the story for today. And when you get to 3 days later, it could be irrelevant. And so that the preaching, you can't recycle a sermon that preached 2 years or 3 years or 20 years ago. It's no longer relevant. You have to be in the moment, what's happening in the world right here and now. And so over the years I've kind of, maybe. But now it's like, I need to, it's important. Also, reclaiming the work of a priest in the community. When I was ordained, my bishop, George Hearn, said the work of a priest is you spend half of the time with your people in your church. That's what you do, half of your time. Therefore, Sunday is regarded as one day, 6 in the morning to 1 o'clock or whatever, maybe later. Preparing the sermon is one day. You spend 8 hours reading, read, outline, preparation, whatever. You spend half of it one day meetings, emails, organising meetings over a course of a month, But then to give away the rest of the time to the wider church, the community, so that people meet the priest from the church in the street, at Kroger, on helping on a community board perhaps, or coaching sport. You have to be in the community to have profile and to be a priest to the community. You're not ordained, in my tradition, our tradition, there's an Anglican, we're not ordained to be a chaplain to a family in the church. Otherwise become an Episcopal ghetto, where people don't think outside the walls of their faith community. And so that's been very important for me, because 20 years ago I would have a lot of involvement. I was involved on committees of after school programs in the community. I would be on Dawson committees. I would run workshops and retreats in other parishes. They didn't pay me. That's one does. One gives one's ability and scholarship out. You give it away for the common good, rather than just think, well, it's not just for my parish I'm a priest, it's for a diocese, it's for a deanery, it's for other people and places. And so I've been asked, for example, to be on the board of Villa International. It's a short-term accommodation place near Emery on Clifton Road, where they have short-term residents who are here from CDC or Emery doing training. and they have a volunteer board. So I was asked, would you be willing to be on? I said, well, sure. That is an example of me moving to give my time outside, quote unquote, the parish walls. I also, over a while, do services at 2 different nursing homes. One here in the village called Rosemont, and another one near called Arbor Eastlake. So I go there twice a month and do these services. And so it's important for me to look for ways in which I can give myself to the community for the common good. And I think that would be the good balance. One needs to have balance. We get things for inside a church, we do things out there in the world. And as we go from in and out and in and out, we take the gospel out to the world, and we bring the needs of the world back into our liturgy on Sunday. If we're not doing that, then our prayer life gets narrow. And if we're not going out, our view of the world shrinks. We have to have experience of being with real people, homeless people, people grieving, people old, and that will inform and enrich my preaching and my prayer life. And so that's a gift, I think, a major gift for me in this 12 months of being forced to sit here and take a steady and pray and think, and now moving to being able to use all my capacities, my emotional capacity, my physical capacity, my intellectual capacity as a scholar, to release it in ways which are going to benefit many people, not just people who are card-carrying members of St. Michael's. The ministry through media these days is quite profound on what we're capable of offering, and I hope we grow into that ministry in the future. So thank you for listening and watching. Live well, live strong, live long. See you next time.